guys, I wanted to come on here and do a 6-month update on how my eye is doing since I had a retinal detachment and a subsequent vitrectomy in order to fix it. I am going to link to my original video that explained what happened to my eye and went into depth about it, but I'll also do just a quick overview in case this is the first video that you are seeing and in case you are also experiencing this situation. So I had a spontaneous retinal detachment, and that is pretty unique for somebody that is younger. Usually this happens to people 50 plus, or if you are younger, it's usually the result of an accident or some type of trauma that has happened to your eye. I was one of the lucky ones that has had this happen to them while they are young, and it is because I am nearsighted. So my contact prescription is about a -9 in my left eye and a -10 in my right eye, or at least that's how it was prior to having the retinal detachment, which that's been bumped up a little bit since. And I started by seeing flashes and floaters in my left eye, and after about a day, I decided to go in and they said that I had a retinal tear and I needed to see a retinal specialist, who then wanted to do the full vitrectomy surgery, and we actually decided on doing the laser retinopexy, and he was pretty confident that that was going to hold, and unfortunately 3 weeks later I experienced a full macular off retinal detachment of my left eye and wasn't able to see out of it at all. So I had emergency surgery about 2 days following the full macular off diagnosis, and this is a 6-month update on how I'm doing since that surgery. First of all, if this is your current situation and you are searching YouTube videos to find out more information, I am so sorry, but you will get through it, and YouTube was something that I turned to when I was going through it, and so I told myself I was going to make these videos once I got better, just so that I could hopefully help somebody if they were in a similar position. So this is my experience. The surgery went really well. I did have to do the face down recovery for 7 full days, which is truly one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I promise I'm going to create another video too on how I got through those 7 days, but really it was just taking it 15 minutes at a time and not thinking about how many more days you had to go, but just thinking about like, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna color, and for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to watch Netflix on my phone, whatever it may be. Once I got done with my 7 days of recovery, my retinal specialist said everything was looking good, and at that point in time, then it was just kind of a guessing game to see how much of your sight comes back. That's, I think, one of the scariest parts is you want a confirmation that you're gonna get your eyesight and it's gonna be okay, and you just don't really know. So as the air bubble started to go down, I had the bubble that lasts about 3 weeks. It is really odd because as it's going down, you can kind of see over it, you can see below it, but it's really blurry. I also had some black spots along the way, and it was really difficult for my brain and my eyes because I had this eye seeing normal and I had this eye seeing things way farther away, and so working was difficult. I was able to work during most of that time, but there were just by mid-afternoon, I usually had to go down and lay in the dark and just give my eyes a break. Meditation is something that really helped me through this experience because if I needed to have my eyes closed, I felt like I was gonna go crazy if I was just laying there in the dark, or I was just gonna be sleeping all the time. And so I did do a lot of guided meditations, and I focused on healing guided meditations so I could really focus on my eye healing itself and my body just getting it back to normal. Something else that I did is I ate a really low inflammatory diet. So I did the AIP diet so that my body could really focus on just repairing my eye versus having to process through junk food and toxins and everything else we're exposed to on a daily basis. So those are just a few of the things that I did. I also went to a clinic and did some red light therapy on my eye. So fast forward 6 months later, I have amazingly gotten back to full 20/20 vision with my left eye, which I feel so blessed to be able to say that because at the time I didn't know if I was even gonna get central vision back or not. Unfortunately, I did lose quite a bit of my peripheral vision, and so it's almost like this eye is looking through a cone. So up above, the side, and down below, I have lost quite a bit of my visual field, but I do have my full central vision. And even with the loss of my peripheral, my brain is starting to accommodate for that and get used to it. And so it's not as difficult as it was the first few months. However, the first few months were pretty difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a mental game knowing that I had experienced a significant loss of my sight and that it wasn't ever going to be the same that it was. But I was just so grateful that I had gotten my central vision back, and I was just so focused on getting it back to 20/20 as much as possible. So every time I'd go to the retinal specialist or to the eye doctor, they'd say, oh, you're at 20/50 now, and oh, you're at 20/40 now, and we really think that you'll get back to 20/20. They do say that it will take a full 6 months to recover from this surgery, 6 months to a year. I didn't start working out or doing anything for the first 3 months because I really wanted just to protect my eye and my body as much as possible. And as I started slowly getting back into those things, I would experience some pain, and it would feel like I would take a step forward and I'd take a couple steps back. I think the most difficult thing about the recovery is the anxiety around it. I am someone who struggles with anxiety on, a normal basis, let alone when I have lost full sight out of one eye, and had to go through a really difficult surgery and the recovery, trying to guess as to whether I'm going to be able to be the same person that I was before this experience or not. But I will say 6 months in, I have far less anxiety than I did before. And that just slowly has gotten better with time. I'm not gonna lie though, every morning when I wake up, I still go like this to see if I can see. And that's probably something that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And it just is what it is. This eye, if I look just through it, it still looks a little bit farther away and smaller than it did before. And my right eye, because they proactively did a laser treatment in it so that it hopefully won't have the same retinal detachment experience as my left eye did, it released quite a few floaters. So that is something else that I am dealing with on a daily basis, is I have quite a few floaters in my right eye. But the good news is when they take out your vitreous fluid in your left eye is that it becomes perfectly clear. So it's actually more clear on this eye than it is on my eye that didn't have the detachment. The downside to that is eventually I will need to have a cataract surgery in my left eye, but as of right now, the eye doctors say that it doesn't appear that I have a cataract forming, and it could be, who knows, even 10 years before I need to have that surgery. One thing in regards to the anxiety that I've experienced is I'm just trying to take life one day at a time and just be grateful each day that I have gotten back to being mostly my normal self again, and I'm hopeful that Elon Musk is going to create a bionic eye that will hopefully fix anybody who has eye problems in the future. But as far as that goes, I am back to most of my normal activities and hobbies that I did before. One of my biggest concerns is that I wasn't going to be able to play sand volleyball again. I'm an avid sand volleyball player. I have a court in my backyard, and I have gotten back to playing, and it is different because I've lost a lot of that visual field. The court's different, everything's different about it, but it's kind of like every time I did something for the first time, it got easier after that. But the first time I went into a big group of people, it was difficult. The first time I drove, the first time I had to go into stores with the fluorescent lights, those really bothered me. I did actually get to go to Italy in the fall, which is another thing that I love to do, is travel, and part of me was so afraid that I wasn't ever going to feel safe traveling again, kind of losing that piece of my vision. But going through a big airport with my glasses on, like, that was difficult as well. But it's all gotten easier after the first time that I do it, and like I said, I'm just really grateful to be able to get out there and be able to do the things that I was doing before. Looking back over the last 6 months, I would say by far the first 3 months are the most difficult. You kind of start to feel like you're getting back to normal after that. But the first 3 months, it's a lot of headaches. Your eyes are seeing different lengths. You're just getting used to your new normal, and that's when the bulk of the recovery is happening. By month 4, once I started kind of being able to go and do activities and hobbies that I loved before, I started feeling a lot better, but I'd still have days where I'd think, am I seeing something in that eye? I don't know. Like, I kind of was just a ball of anxiety all the time, but I just had to tell myself, no, your eye's healing perfectly, you're fine, like, go about your day. By month 5, I was actually able to go to Italy, and that was something that I was worried I'd never be able to do, was travel again, and I was able to do so comfortably. And then now that we're in month 6, I really feel like this is something that has changed my life, but it hasn't stopped my life, and I've been able to just live with a new normal. One thing that is different that hasn't gone away is I do have a chronic dry eye in this left one. I use these eye drops. They are called Ivisia. They are awesome, and because I've gone through all of the preservative-free ones, and these are by far my favorite. And so I do have to put eye drops in every few hours, and when I wake up in the middle of the night, it does feel like my eye is sandpaper. So that is something that I'm not sure if that's everyone's experience, but it's my experience. And I went down a TikTok rabbit hole of people who have chronic dry eye after having laser surgery, and we'll just say I'm grateful that I'm not those people, because my heart goes out to them. They have horrible outcomes and experiences. So I'm grateful that mine's able to be taken care of with some eye drops. Okay, at this point in time, I feel like I'm rambling, but I just wanted to come on here and make these videos so that if anyone is having any type of retinal detachment, or they have to have a vitrectomy surgery and you have fear going into it, I just want you to see in the flesh that there are people that have good outcomes, especially if you're younger, youth is on your side, and modern medicine is incredible in the things that they are able to do to fix us. Like I said, let's also root for Elon Musk and his bionic eyes for the future, because we might need them. But just reach out if you have any questions, or if there's anything that I can answer for you or help you with. I just felt so alone in this, because it's not something that is normal or routine, and it doesn't happen often. And so I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have. So just leave me a comment, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks.